A very good morning once again. For those that are just joining us, we are now taking note of rehabilitation and social reintegration for fistula survivors. I have two guests who will be helping us understand how that is going on in their particular realm. But before we begin, just you ought to know that an estimated 2 million women in Africa are suffering from obstetric fistula caused by obstructed childbirth. However, more numbers linger when incorporation of other kinds of fistula are brought on board. While most interventions have focused on improving clinical outcomes and preventing the disease through community outreach and education, we want to draw attention to the important need for rehabilitation and reintegration services. I'm now joined by Alex Okello, the Executive Director at Talents Enabling Uganda, and Betty Bukira Okello, who is also a board member at Talents Enabling Uganda. This should be work that is geared towards rehabilitation and reintegration of victims. Lady and gentlemen, many thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Great. Fistula, the word itself, doesn't sound good most of the time when you are dealing with it. Especially for us in the media, we are talking of the adverse condition and how badly it has affected those that are trying to overcome it. Before we go into the nitty-gritty of rehabilitation and reintegration, what is fistula? What is its prevalence? And what is the state of affairs? I don't know whether that should go to Mr. Okello or Ms. Bukira.
Okay, maybe I can say the prevalence issues, and then she can come in to explain the real disease condition,
okay,
because she's the medical professional. Basically, according to UNFPA, those statistics really are correct, what you just said. But according to UNFPA, we have over 200,000 women in Uganda living with that condition. 200,000 women. And then there's a backlog of about 2,000, they are not yet been repaired, okay, with that. And so currently we have many development partners that have come in to support the treatment and the rehabilitation of, of fistula. But I think she can now explain exactly what it is.
Okay. Yes. Over to you, doctor.
A fistula is basically an opening between the birth canal and the bladder or the anus. And if somebody has that condition, you'll find that the susu, the urine and the stool will come out through the same canal. So it usually happens due to several factors, and commonly it is because of obstructed labor. There are women who will have labor for a long time and it is obstructed, and they are in a state where they cannot access medical care. And another factor that usually leads to this condition is early pregnancy. Girls who usually conceive when they are still young, their muscles and bones are still developing. So at the time of labor, they cannot contain, their muscles cannot contain the pressure. So it ends up tearing and open and end up leading to an opening between the birth canal and the bladder or the anus. Sometimes both, sometimes one of them. And also another factor that can lead to this is poverty. Some people are really in a state where they cannot even afford to go for medical care while pregnant or even during delivery. So they stay in their homes, they stay hidden somewhere, and at the end of it all, during labor, they end up getting this complication. And some people believe that they have those cultures where they believe that it's best to give birth from home. It's best to give birth with the traditional birth attendant, and they ignore the medical care even when they could have accessed it. So those are some of the common causes of this complication, which usually happens to women.
All right, let me keep with the medical perspective, especially when it comes to how to cope with the fistula, both on the part of the victims, but also on the part of health service providers. The victims, we've just been talking about another condition that completely affects people in terms of cost. When somebody realizes that they have fistula, the condition, how do they begin the process of taking care, especially where poverty is rampant? Because it could determine how best or quickly they reach a health center or medical services?
Well, for somebody to get the fistula, it's basically during labor. So, which could have been because of poverty, as you have said, where they had no money to access antenatal or even medical services while giving birth. So then they ended up getting the fistula. Now, when a lady or a young girl realizes that she has the fistula, that opening, the best thing would be to still go to a medical center. There are many opportunities in Uganda these days. There are many NGOs and even government hospitals. They're offering this service free of charge to repair the fistula.
Free of charge?
Yes, free of charge.
Okay.
But you know, many times because it is stigmatizing, if somebody has it, they're always smelling, they're always getting recurrent infections. So many of them, you'll find that they remain in their cocoon, they remain in the hiding, and they fear to go out and reach to the medical center or to the hospital to get help. So the best would be, if you realize you're in this state, go to a hospital. But also there are many NGOs that have come up and they offer the same service. In all regional hospitals, the fistula can be repaired. The only hindrance is because of the stigma, people fear to come out and get medical help.
All right, let me now draw attention to aspects of rehabilitation and reintegration. When you talk about stigma, many people might be afraid, like she conveniently says, to be able to seek help because of the nature of how the disease manifests. The uncomfortable stench is pretty much, and it's understandable for the ladies, no doubt. How is the structuring of rehabilitation processes, first and foremost, to ensure that they are free enough to talk about it and also come out to access this particular service? That should also help us understand what Talent Enabling Uganda specifically does.
Okay. Fine. Thank you so much. So there is a very good process right now placed in play for people to get these rehabilitation services. Number one is screening. Is that so many organizations and so many hospitals are doing screening services, and so they call up these women from wherever they are and they are screened. There are health camps that are happening just so that to help these other people come out, and so that's number one. Number two is treatment. So they're providing treatment, like we said. There are hospitals now, like we have Terewode Hospital in Soroti. It's a first-class hospital that has been built by also in support of UNFPA and other stakeholders to really support that hospital treats them for free and picks them from wherever they are in Uganda and takes them and treats them. So the treatment is also like helping them to come out. And then number three is psychosocial support for different, and that's maybe where we come in also. That after they have been treated, Talent Enabling also comes in to support them with the psychosocial support, counseling them, giving them self-esteem. And so we have been currently running a project supported by Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Netherlands and a voice. And a voice is an initiative of MOFA. And so in that project, we are supporting those ones who have already been rehabilitated. And so we are training them, giving them psychosocial support, giving them self-esteem. And then the other one is empowerment. So we are giving them livelihood skills so that it reduces their stigma. They are able to pay, they are able to come out, get laundry, they are able to get, because when they get that condition, they get so affected and they move behind. They get lost. So we are trying to say under this project, how can we give them a voice? How can they come out to be? And so that's another process for rehabilitation. And then the other one really has been community development and community awareness for such cultural aspects. People think it's witchcraft. When they get when somebody gets a fistula, they think it's witchcraft, and so we say no, it's not. So there's a lot of massive awareness. There's also training for medics. One of the girls we are working with told us their condition worsened because some of the medics did not understand this and said it will heal. but the condition worsened. So there are some of them also that needs training. So there's a lot of training also happening for them. And also issues to do with legal issues. Nationally, there's awareness for that. So duty bearers are coming up to take on the issues of early marriages, because it's one of the great causes of fistula. Yeah.
Early marriages and
yes.
It's interesting. Everything keeps, you know, running into the other, and all factors get compounded, and the situation becomes a bit unbearable. You spoke about a hospital that is offering service and apparently picks victims from any part of the country. For purposes of those that are listening right now and watching, could you, the name of the hospital? The
name of the hospital is it's an organization called the Terewode that has built
Terewode.
Yes, Terewode Women Community Hospital.
Women Community Hospital, based in Soroti.
Based in Soroti.
In Soroti.
Yes.
Okay. That deals specifically with women who are grappling with fistula. Okay. I needed to hammer that down because it's important. There are people who may be suffering and simply don't know. And don't have this information that is
so if they are there, please, there's this service on. And of course, Terode and many other development, partners are doing this. So the reason why we know them, we've partnered with them in several aspects to do this kind of work for the women and rehabilitating them. So wherever you are in parts of Uganda, you will be picked, and then you will be treated for 2 weeks there, and then the person and the caretaker.
All right. And then what exactly is the Talent Enabling Uganda? For you, you're a rehabilitation organization.
So for us, basically, we are a learning and business development organization that supports vulnerable groups. And so we empower vulnerable youth and women to have a skill in their life and help them come up with a business. So we got a project, again, as I mentioned it, to get with Voice. And Voice is an initiative of Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Netherlands. And so they are really exist to empower vulnerable people. And one of the vulnerable people that we have in our communities is those people who got fistula. And totally because they get so stigmatized and get lost. And so together with Voice, we are saying, and now that they have treated them and they have given them a chance to be, but this fistula really affects you psychologically in a way that even after treatment, you remain like for lack of better word, undercover. You totally don't want to come out. So many of the girls that we are working with, that's the first thing we deal with, psychosocial support, giving them a voice. Actually, we have a program where we are going to bring them even to pitch their businesses. 17th November this month, we're going to invite them, and we have been training them on business. One of it is just basically to make them come out.
That's right.
To make them stand up, to make them know that fistula was just a condition. It was just a condition, but your life moves on. Your life is much better. And many of them, really, we have got so excited. One of the important testimonies we can give is that after we trained them, 3 of them gathered up and said, we need to promote this, and they have started a school outreach to tell other girls and to help them know that, don't get pregnant early. You still have a big life. You have and so that's what's happening.
Let me return to the medical perspective. Madam Bukira, one of the aspects that help people in dealing with stigma is what they become after they recover. Many of the signs that somebody suffered fistula, do they stay with you? That they are a constant reminder of this? I do not, because the stigma, if he says that many remain undercover, it means away from the fact that they were known to suffer fistula, they themselves could be grappling with something that keeps on being a reminder of this. Tell us, what is the time that it takes for somebody to fully recover from fistula, and when they do, the chances of again suffering the disease, are they eliminated, or there could be a possibility?
Basically, there are no signs that somebody will look at and know this woman must have had a fistula, but the person will remain behind simply because they know, they think everyone knows they were smelling earlier. They think everyone will know that this is the girl who used to pass around and she was smelling poo, she was smelling urine, you know.
Yeah.
Even after recovery, they will struggle to associate again with the community. If they see you overlooking at them, they may think, she must be thinking of the other condition. But like someone will go for an operation, there is a scar that will remain, but not the scar that is seen by everyone. Yes. So unless if you have gone into another act, that's when somebody may say, okay, there is this scar, but still not this big that it's too evident. And the recovery process takes 1 to 2 weeks, basically, for somebody to get back on the road and they can walk and do work. But still not doing a lot of work because the muscles are still healing. The entire healing process takes about 6 to 9 weeks, depending on somebody's body. If they take the medication and the medical advisors, they should be.
All right, I'm afraid we're out of time. Betty Bukira Okello, the Managing Director at St. Eliza Healthcare and also board member of Talent Enabling Uganda. Many thanks for joining us, and many thanks to you too, Alex Okello, the Executive Director at Talent Enabling Uganda. Your information shared has emboldened our understanding of the condition of fistula, but most importantly, offered us a lifeline. That stigma can be beaten and that people can go on with their lives very comfortably and productively. Now,